This story happened when I was 9. I was in the 4th grade. This was a normal day, I think to myself as I make my way towards the bus. Footlong Weenie Wednesday in the cafeteria. I gobbled up those schlongs like nobody's business. Oh, what's that? There's a possibility for seconds. Okay. You better bet your ass I'm gonna be the first in that line for the second schlongs. Timmy? If you get in the way of my schlongs, you're gonna go home without one, okay? I got my second schlong. I was able to eat 1.5 that day. What's my record? 2. My record's 2. So we unfortunately didn't break the record that day, you know? And as I walked to that bus that day, I thought, next week I will do better. But this wasn't a normal day, was it? No, because the frozen water that was falling from the sky in the form of snow was falling at an alarming rate now, wasn't it? Yes. But I didn't think much of it because I was about to go home, watch Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Not much else to think about when you are looking forward to that. I walk up 3 steps to get onto the bus. I turn to the left and I walk down the aisle. Then I make another right onto the left side of the bus. First mistake. Unfortunately, the left side of the bus that day was the wrong side of the bus. Across from me, on the right side, were 2 of my acquaintances. Hello, I say to them as I sit down in the seat. I hear the engine of the bus rumble. It started. It's time to go home. The wheels of the bus start to turn. They start to go round and round, as you may have heard in that one song. We're on our way. I unzip my backpack and pull out the one thing I've been waiting to look at all day. The new I Spy book I just checked out from the library. I open its pages to the first one. I begin my search. What's that? A bottle of ketchup? Oh, it's right there. Top left corner of the page. You're welcome. Oh, look over there. We have a shoe. Suede. I was finding things left and right, like it was my job. Very invested in this book. All of my focus and attention is on it. I am not paying attention to anything else. Where even are we? I don't know. What's my name? Questions to which I've never known the answer. I continued to find items in said I Spy book until... Where am I? I look above me. One of my acquaintances holds out my I Spy book to me. But it was just in my hand a second ago. Why does she now have possession of it? I don't know. I look to my left. I look to my right. I still don't know where I am. Perhaps I'm in a dream. I look in front of me. I look behind. This is no dream. I am still on the bus. Only now, I am laying on a window of the bus. I look down. I've cracked the glass beneath me. I slowly begin to get up. What's going on? What's happened? Why am I standing on the glass of the bus? I don't know. I hear screaming children. I hear crying children. I don't like children, and there are many of them around me right now. Our bus has tipped over and fallen into a creek on the side of the road. Odd, I think to myself. I take the book from my acquaintance and put it back into my backpack, where it originally came from, and I stand up. What the f*** is going on here? I say, but not really because I was 9 years old. Everybody stay on your places! The bus driver shouts to us. You don't gotta tell me twice. I think. To myself. I will go ask for help, she says as she makes her way to the back of the bus, walking on the windows as well. She opens the back door, pushes it open, but it is difficult to leave. We cannot leave out of the door because we have fallen onto the right side of the bus. The door is on the ground, no longer useful for any of us. She pushes open the door and climbs out. She comes back about 20 minutes later. There's a man. Who is this man? I've never seen before. The bus driver goes back to the front of the bus and opens a box. She takes out a flare gun, leaves again, and we just wait, many children crying. But I am one of the oldest. I must be strong. Many upset children around me I should probably console. I don't. Anyway, so basically she goes outside and then she shoots off this flare gun. And because this was a long time ago, I don't know if she had a phone or not, because this was some people had phones at this time, some people didn't. And so she's trying to communicate with people on the radio in the front of the bus as well. And I think it might have worked a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really remember. Anyway, yeah, a lot of the kids were crying. Me and my other friends, we were we were pretending to talk on the phone with our parents, imagining what we would say to them, if we were to call them. Be like, hey mom, hey dad, yeah. No, the usual. Yeah, we just bus fell into a creek, what's that? Oh yeah, no, yeah. Lasagna's fine. Yeah. And anyway, so the adults, the two adults, and the one he's a random stranger that stopped on the side of the road. They shot off the flares. Eventually, people came. The fire department and the police and the ambulances. Ambuli? This was maybe like an hour and a half later. We can like hear the sirens and everyone coming. But then eventually we see like firemen come to the back of the bus. And because we're so small, like the oldest of us was like me and my friends, we were 9 years old. We weren't like big enough or tall enough to get out of the back because the door is like horizontal now. And so one of the firemen came in, and then we would like go in a line, and they would lift us up and hand us off to another fireman outside, and then that fireman would just put us in the snow, and then we had to walk up like a hill because we were in a creek, you know. Fortunately, this was in the wintertime, obviously, because it was snowing, so the creek was frozen. So that's good news. But we also did fall off the side of the road because it was winter, so you know, kind of a little bit of double-edged sword there. But we walk up the hill, and then once we got to the top of the hill, madness. There was, I want to say, 3 fire trucks, 10 police cars, multiple ambulances, a bunch of other random cars, multiple tow trucks, and also right in front of us there was another bus that was waiting for us. So we get on the bus, they take us to a nearby fire station, which was like 3 minutes from our house. Like I could have like walked home from the fire station. They bring the bus into, like they drive it into where the fire trucks usually go. Then we all got out of the bus, and then they bring us into the fire station, and then they brought us into like this room where it was like they had a bunch of desks and there was like a whiteboard and stuff. I don't know. It's where they do their fireman stuff. I don't know their strategy. They said you all have to wait here until your parents come and pick you up, and when they come they have to sign you out so they know that everyone is accounted for. People's parents started to come and pick them up. Both my parents got there at the exact same time, and I'm like, Mother, Father, you've come for me. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this, both of you. So apparently later on, my mom told me that, so actually, the way that my mom found out was actually because so all of my siblings were in, like, a different school. Like, I am a triplet, but all 3 of us were in different schools because when we were going into 3rd grade, there was, like, a new school that was added to our school system, and so, like, everyone got switched around, and so I went to a different school than the one that I had gone to previously, and one of them stayed where we originally were, another one went to a different school. My brother, because he's a couple years older than us, he obviously went to a different school, and so he was on a different bus. So when he got home, when he was walking off the bus, his bus driver said to him, your sister's gonna be a little late. She was in a bus accident. So that's all that he said to him. So my brother went inside, and then he called my mom right away and said, the bus driver just told me that Marie was in a bus accident. So my mom's like, what? Then after they were done talking, then she didn't come right away. Like, she told her boss, and then she didn't come. She stayed at work for a little bit longer, and her boss was like, you need to leave. Like, what are you doing? So anyway, my mom had to be convinced to come and see if I was okay from this bus accident. But my dad came right away, and they both got there at like the same time because he was a little further away. So even though he like left sooner, he still got there at the same time as her. They signed me out, and then one of them brought me home, and then immediately I dart to the TV, and I just sit there on the couch till the story comes on, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my big break, I'm gonna be on TV. I was not on TV. They didn't come until after we were gone. So they're like talking about it on the news. They said there was like 30 something kids in the bus that they said. Anyway, no one got checked out at this scene. It was the most bizarre thing. I was talking with my cousin, the doctor, a couple years ago about this, and she said that the protocol for things back then wasn't the same as they were, because just in terms of like concussions and things like that, because we were all at least on the left side of the bus, so we tipped over onto the right side of the bus. I was on the left. There's no seatbelts on the bus, so I just went flying and then smacked, and we also fell, so it was an even farther fall. That's why I broke the window. Some students were hurt, but they just never like checked them out. It was so like everyone get on the bus, and they had ambulances there, so I'm not really sure why they didn't check anyone out. The bus driver's daughter was actually on the bus, and she hurt her head. There was one of the kids in the back of the bus. There was like one seat that had a seatbelt on it, and it wrapped around his ankle, and he was like hanging from it after we fell, and so some of the kids had to like try to get him out of it. Students were definitely hurt, but like no one just like checked them out at the scene. I didn't know this until years later about concussion, because I've had so many concussions. You couldn't tell that if you hit your head and you go unconscious, you 100% have a concussion, which I did. I was unconscious for, I don't know how long. You could tell that like people that were on the left side of the bus were having a harder time, that we all got up after the people on the right side of the bus. Like my friends were standing over me, holding my things, and like they were already awake, but I was completely knocked out. I don't remember falling at all. I don't remember anything about the actual, like the action of it happening. I just remember reading my book and then waking up on the windows. I wasn't really like, I guess, scared. It was just, because like my friends and I were joking about it, but it was like so weird. And there was like a red light. I don't know if that's some kind of like emergency, something that the bus has, so it made it look even like creepier. But anyway, so yeah, so I definitely had a concussion. It was something where it was like with my schoolwork, it was almost like night and day. My levels in school for everything just plummeted. Like I could not do simple math. It was like frustrating to me because like I didn't know, I didn't even think about it till like years later, like why it was like so night and day. Like but why I was just bad at school at that point. So I also, on my whole right side of my body, the whole thing was bruised, black and blue. Like it was just, I mean, that's what a bruise is, just in case you didn't know. But I never went to a doctor for that accident at all. Then after that, the next day, they made us go to like this, I don't know if it was the next day, maybe a couple of days after or something. They made like an announcement at school, and they said, can everyone from bus 6 come? I remember it was bus 6, come to the guidance counselor's office. So we all went there, and then they would make us have like this like therapy kind of thing, I guess. It was, none of us really talked that much. Like it was the guidance counselor, and then the principal was also there, and they're like, if anyone has any feelings about what happened, you can share that, things like that. We were all just like little kids, like sitting on the ground in a circle, and we're just like, I think for kids, especially because like a lot of them are really young, maybe like 5-6 years old, I think it was just like, I don't think that little kids are probably gonna go into depth about like their feelings about it. Like I think a few kids said like something, it was like, yeah, it was really scary. Anyway, so the bus driver got suspended, and she was like, she's like the sweetest person. Like in wintertime or before Christmas, and we would be let out for winter break, she would buy every one of us a stuffed animal. She would individually like pick them out for us. Like, I mean, her daughter was also on the bus. Like it was an accident, obviously. If anything, I feel like we should have been let out earlier from school because the road conditions just weren't good, like we should have had like a 2-hour early release or whatever. She is someone who will deck out her house for Christmas. Her whole yard and her whole house, it would be like so lit up. So that Christmas, so this happened on, actually it was the anniversary recently, on February 15th. So this was like 10 months later that we saw her. And we went to her house, and people like would get out and walk around and look at her house, and so we did that. And she saw me, and she came out, and she was like profusely apologizing. We're just like, it was a complete accident. Like you could tell she felt so bad. But anyway, yeah, that was kind of the story. Okay, bye.